Yes, he just can't string them together, Korda. His mind's half there. That's his problem. And I think it really is partly doing so much at the Australian, as I said before, but also just the expectation, perhaps, how people look so differently upon somebody who's won a major. It happened with Rafter. It has almost happened with Rosetsky as a result of his final at the US Open. And it's happening now to Korda. He's been around. He's not a lot different than he was. He just happened to string it together at the Australian. Same old Korda. And he's not sure he can produce. And that may be one of the causes here.
And the two surprising statistics there, of course. Korda's first serve percentage and those 17 unforced errors.
Reason for it.
Yeah.
You know, the big serve. And there's obviously a lot more to it than that, but with the serve flowing and scoring as often, it becomes a lot easier. My goodness, just taking the wrong club out of the bag.
He just can't find it. Just that brief passage in the first set. And that's a third love service game for Rios.
Yes, just referring to Rosetsky's serve, if Korda suddenly now could come up with a score of aces, even not that many, his whole game would take on a different hue.
Yes, if you weren't with us earlier, we were awaiting confirmation, of course, but it did seem to us that Rosetsky set a new record of 146 miles an hour with one of his aces, breaking his previous record of 143. Mind you, there are official and some unofficial clocks, and we'll have to get confirmation that it was an official one.
A little late, but a good call. Yes, this clock here does seem a little high, I must say. Well, again, the approach shot by Korda, which at his best, and certainly in the Australian, would have had Rios stretching on the backhand side. He plays right down the middle here. Comfortable for Rios.
Well, it could be just one of those days for Peter Korda. Point for 3-love. Here's a little clenched fist from Marcelo Rios, as if to say, I think I've got him this time. A set and 3-love with 2 breaks he ought to have. Korda has the skills to turn it around, not displaying them today. Rusedski is the first Briton ever to reach the semi-finals of a Super 9. Rusedski awaits Muster or Medvedev. The winner of this awaits Agassi or Gamble.
Well, the statistics there show some of the story. Rios winning 62% of his second serves. Now, if he could do that all year, he'd achieve miracles. He normally will win only about 52, 53%, so that's way high. And of course, what it suggests is just like that Korda's not returning well, not getting into the points, not putting pressure on the Rios second serve. It's hardly a damaging second serve.
Almost looked to be a resigned look about Korda in that last game.
Yes, I don't think there's going to be a lot of resistance now. Sad, really, because of course the #1 in the world is up for grabs here if Korda should win this tournament. Sampras having lost, but in many ways I think Korda's right. Sampras still, in most people's eyes, is #1.
Oh. Well, if Korda could suddenly produce shots like that, anything's possible, but it's a great stretch. Fourth ace from Korda, and at least he's prevented the ignominy of a love set, which was looking distinctly possible. Rios up in the morning to get the results of those matches. Text service.
Well, the Australian might have been a nightmare, but this one is turning out to be a bit of a dream for Rios.
Yes, it's Korda who's having the nightmare. So almost certainly now, barring a most extraordinary pattern of events, Pete Sampras will enjoy weeks 101 and 102 as #1 because of course that's a let. Because of course next week The Lipton Championships begins on the Friday, and it's a 10-day tournament.
Oh, that was a mile out.
Yeah, I think maybe the line judge unsighted.
Definitely.
Well, Rios doing a Bjorkman and Rosetsky here. He hasn't lost a point on serve in this set.
No, he's won, in fact, 16 straight points on his serve, Rios, because he was 15-40 down at the end of the last set, won 4 points there. So he's on a real roll.
He may not get a chance to extend that sequence there.
May never do it again against a player ranked 2 in the world. This is the second and third ranked left-hander in the world. We've already seen the second win a match tonight. Won Mr. Rosetsky.
Korda convinced that was out.
I don't know why, because it might just prolong the agony. Oh, Rios, of course, a man now truly inspired. I just hope this doesn't leave too much of a scar on Korda.
Yeah, sort of persuade him, well, I've had my finest hour and it's all downhill from here. And certainly hopes not, because he has so much more to contribute. Third double fault, and it's 2 match points. And the smile from Rios. I don't think he can believe how easy it's been. And yet even then, Korda had 2 points to level at 5-all in the first, having been 5-1 down.
Well, it'll be a good exercise in character building if Rios had to serve for it.
And if Korda wins this match, we'll discover that his middle name is Houdini. Yeah, big hand from the crowd. Pleased to see Korda offering a little bit of resistance at the end, but has he only postponed the inevitable? And certainly think so.
Terrific year, of course, for the South Americans, or terrific year and a half, with Querten winning the French last year and Rios final of the Australian. Really has given a tremendous boost. No Chilean had reached a final since Luis Ayala in the French in the late 50s. So they've had a long wait, and of course prior to Querten it was Maria Bueno.
Yes, no Brazilian man had ever won a Grand Slam. Of course, if I'm just thinking ahead, it's a super point.
I think the real test comes probably during and just after Wimbledon. He's got to, if he doesn't win Wimbledon, then people will accept the fact that somebody else's turn has come, because he's not likely to win the French. Although it would be good to see him have a really good go, and it may just be the inspiration he needs. Because I know for Sampras and for quite a number of people, that elusive one, whether it's the American, say, for Borg, or the French for Sampras, that's the one they want most.
Two more match points for Rios. Yes, that's a terrific performance from Rios. Yes, he was faced with a very much substandard quarter today, and that was disappointing to see, but let's take nothing away from Rios. He played really well. He won't lay the ghost of the Australian Open final, although he's coming up with his own cartwheels. The only thing that will make up for losing a Grand Slam final is winning a Grand Slam final, but that's a fine performance. Rios wins 6-4, 6-2 in, what, just an hour and 6 minutes.
Yes, well, all of Chile will be celebrating. He's beaten the winner of a major, a recent major too, and that can only do Rios, who's a multi-talented man. Shame for Korda, though, it just never was on the court today, just but a shadow of the man who won the Australian.
Yeah, let's hope that Korda can regroup and recapture that form, but look, only 6 unforced errors from Rios. So he awaits either Agassi or Gamble. Rosetsky awaits either Muster or Medvedev. As I say, look up the results in the morning on Sports Desks. And we'll see you tomorrow night. So Rosetsky, unlike yesterday, a pretty positive start, holds his opening service game to 15. We'll take a short commercial break.
Very different style of game for Rosetsky. Of course, yesterday he was coming in quite a bit with his backhand down the line, which was going to Enquist's two-hander. This time, of course, will be going to Muster's left-handed forehand, which generally is a better wing for Muster to pass with. Yes, that's a good play by Rosetsky. I think he's got to really test the Muster backhand early on. You can see the shot not that deep, and yet quite a comfortable half volley for Rosetsky, and then the missed backhand.
A late change of mind there from Muster as to whether he was going to play it on the backhand or run round and play the forehand.
Well, that might encourage Muster to give the ball a little bit more loop. Seeing Rosetsky missing that off a fairly high bouncing ball, Rosetsky might have to just play it a little earlier. Seems to be moving all right, but not serving very well.
A slight element of a miss-hit in that backhand from Muster. But given that he wasn't getting any first serves in, or hardly any, perhaps a little opportunity lost there by Rosetsky. 1-all.
Yes, I think he'll be pleased with that, because very often early on in the match he can miss on those backhands, although it's a shot that I think he's been playing a bit better here this week. Seems to be taking it out a bit more in front of him, Muster. Very different approach to the return of serve, so that Rosetsky might get quite a few comfortable volleys initially to Enquist's approach. Enquist very much a hitting returner, and Muster, until he gets his sights, will be more of a pushing returner.
Rosetsky 21 aces against Enquist. He's served 49 coming into this match, and that's now a third. Well, he's very close to it, 144. Not quite a new record. It was better than the old one, though. Rosetsky 2-1.
For the first time ever, over 140 countries will gather together for the sake of the oceans and the...
And the crowd in boisterous mood.
Well, Muster almost drawn in by the short shot of Rosetsky, and against Rosetsky he might well seek to volley quite a bit more than he would normally do, chiefly because Rosetsky doesn't hit that many really terrific passing shots.
And the spins that Muster is putting on the ball are certainly confusing Rosetsky at the moment. First ace from Muster. And he answers Rosetsky's love service game with one of his own.
Well, a good hard flat serve from Muster. Usually when he plays those, he doesn't have a very good percentage.
You can see Muster taking out outrageous stances and moving around, trying to unsettle Rosetsky's rhythm.
Well, as long as Muster hits the ball that high, Rosetsky is going to continue to be really pretty happy about his volleys. And it's just wear and tear on Muster. He hates people who play this way, really, because he doesn't really think of them as tennis players. And in the end, winning as many points as he is, Rosetsky will get through to Muster.
3 successive love service games. And Rosetsky so far lost 1 point on serve, and Muster 2, and it's 3-2 in the first set.
Slightly late, but I think a good call.
First double fault of the match.
He's pretty measly with his double faults. He last year just averaged 2.2 double faults per match.
Even more measly this week, because in 4 matches he's served 5. That's a terrific shot. He's got a lot of friends here. They really took to him last year, Muster. A lot of Americans had not really appreciated Muster until he came out and did well on American hard. They'd sort of dismissed him winning all these funny clay court tournaments in Europe.
Well, I think, too, there's a bit of inter-reaction with Muster. And the American crowd certainly respond to it. Rosetsky hitting that return very flat, deciding that he needs to get under it a bit more.
Well, Rosetsky hasn't found the consistency off the ground that he had yesterday against Enquist, when he played pretty solidly off the ground.
Yes, it's a very different match. Enquist is somebody who lacks patience. Muster's got a lot more of it off the ground. Now, that's an outstanding volley by Rosetsky, because that was a far better lower return. One of Rosetsky's problems is that he hasn't successfully been able to get to Muster's backhand. Even the one slice which he directed pretty well in that last game, Muster was able to run around it, so he's got to look for a bit more pace perhaps, or just reckon on coming in down the middle perhaps a bit more, and relying on his threat really to win the points.
His first double fault. Rusedski served 15 in the week coming into this match. Well, nice little touch. And we continue to go very comfortably with serve. Rusedski leads 4 games to 3. Muster serving with new balls, 3-4, first set. No, just long. That's a great shot from Muster. Yes, I think we can safely discount the injury. Doesn't seem to be inhibiting at all.
No, and at the change of ends, of course, he was out there long before Rusedski, and he was squatting and jumping on his toes. He looks pretty sound. Well, he's looking for more pace.
And Muster, as Frew was suggesting, is going to come into the net rather more, but venting his feelings about the Rusedski serve. Who have been backwards in expressing opinions, Thomas. Already up to 6 aces. Oh, my word. Well, another one at 140. Another love service game for Rusedski, his third. And he leads by 5 games to 4.
How does the world start its day? In Budapest, they breakfast on lemon tea, salami and peppers, and a concise update of the world's news.
Rusedski really must take advantage of this awful first serve percentage. His own first serve percentage quite superb.
Well, that's a much better serve, really, by Muster, coming around it a bit more, getting a bit more control. Sometimes when he's up against big servers, he likes to be a bit macho as well. Likes to almost try and get into their realms like that. And frankly, it's not always possible, because he's going to miss too many. Well, it was a good high defensive lob by Rosetsky. Mr. certainly couldn't put it away. And there's that little bit of reaction which endears him to this crowd.
Of course, he spends a lot of time in Australia now. He's got a home in Noosa Heads in Queensland. So the might is getting more pronounced. Well, Norm Christ announcing game Rosetsky. Well, it's 40-30. It would have been interesting, that, because that would have been set as well.
He's obviously been slipped a note by one of the British reporters.
He's not coping with that ball getting up a little bit higher to his backhand.
I think what threw umpire Christ was that it was only the second time that somebody's lost 2 points in their serve, and he thought, well, something unusual's happened here.
Five all. My word, that was over the baseline, I think. Well, there's a lot of senior citizens in this part of the world, and I think they're sort of taking the part of muster against this young bully.
Big man, Rosetsky, of course, with quite a good wingspan at the net, so he sometimes will just force you automatically to go too wide. May not be a bad idea sometimes for Muster to really let rip straight at him.
Yes, test his reflexes. Well, now what's that? Oh, look at it. He's broken the record again. I think it's 149. Terrific serve. Another new record, 149 miles an hour, that last serve. So he's put 6 miles an hour on the record this week. But I think what he'll be much more concerned about at the moment is his lack of ground stroke form.
Yes, I think he'd prefer to hit it at 49 miles an hour, win the points, but be able to hit a few more ground strokes in. He may need to give himself, there's really no great need, unless he's going to chip the backhand and come in. There's no great need for him to stand as close as he is, because Muster's, particularly on the second serve, of course, he's looking to come in, but on the other hand, if he's looking to come in with power, he could stand back a bit, give himself more time for the big swing, and come in on behind a deeper, harder hit shot.
Well, this is one of the quickest sets, because I think they've been playing for 31 minutes, and here we are in a tie-break.
Well, Muster this year hasn't won a tiebreaker. Rosetsky in 60 sets has played 17. He's won 10, lost 7. Of course, won a very important second set tiebreaker against Enquist yesterday.
He's played superbly in it, 7-1. Right on the line. Well, one or two people whistling, but you can bet your life if Muster thought it was out, he'd be saying something about it.
Well, just as he did against Enquist, winning the longest rally of the match. 13 strokes to it. There's almost a bit of additional pressure on the man who's meant to win the baseline rallies against Rosetsky. He gets a few more back than he should.
Oh yes, well played. No, that was in. That was clearly in.
Yeah, it was a good shot. Unmoved.
I think that's a little bit of gamesmanship from Thomas. I don't think there was any doubt about that at all.
Oh, keeping his head here, Muster expecting him to be wrong-footing him.
And a seventh ace. Takes Rosetsky to a 5-love lead. And overall this time from Norm Christ.
Well, Muster really be a little irritated that he's lost a couple of rallies to Rosetsky. It may, in a way, force him to play a little against the grain. But it's far from over.
Yep. People have been known to lose tiebreaks from 6-love, let alone 5-love. 1-5. Now then, these are the big 2 points, Rosetsky. Four set points.
Yes, that's a poor shot from Muster, really. A lot of pressure on Rosetsky. Could well have turned it then.
That's a great return. And Muster recovers one of the many breaks.
Yes, I have a feeling he may have come just one shot too late, 1 point too late for Muster. But better late than never.
Well, if he could win these 2 points, Muster, it would be very interesting. Oh, it's a great shot. That really is, because Rusedski played that point so well.
Yes, a good into-out backhand here from Rusedski, moving away from Muster all the time, but so committed to the volley.
Well, that's great stuff from Muster, and now the pressure really is on Rusedski. 3 set points have come and gone. He's got one more. It is on his serve, but you feel now he really needs a first serve, because Muster is coming alive, the crowd's coming alive behind him. And he got the first serve, and that's the sign of a man who's got tremendous self-belief. .38 minutes, Rusedski takes the tie-break by 7 points to 5.
Well, with a little bit of, again, interreaction with the crowd, Muster just holding Rusedski up. I like the way he then just turned his back and got himself thinking about something else, which was to sort out another ball, perhaps, and I think that just steadied his nerve a little bit, and then he was pretty smooth on the serve.
I have to say, there's some rather biased people in the crowd. That was so far out.
Well, they've paid their money. They like to get into the act. They don't feel that these are the only 2 players on the stage.
Well held in the bleachers, as they call them over here. That's a great point from Rusedski, and superb athleticism on the high backhand volley. And these are the first break points of the match.
Well, Muster can have no complaint about these big serving opponents, because he's been out-rallied. And he's serving very poorly.